That's the ease at which you get information. You want it, you get it, like that. Ask your phone, group chat, smartphone. You're always connected and informed in real time. No waiting. So if you're diabetic and still using finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? Knowing your blood sugar levels instantly is important for managing diabetes. Call US Med at 888-665-0696. To learn more about continuous glucose monitors, a real-time instant method to track your blood glucose, US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 1,000 private insurers. And the best part? Call 888-665-0696 and we'll give you a free insurance benefits check today. So call 888-665-0696 today. That's 888-665-0696 and manage your diabetes as easy as...
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Football season and Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. The perfect combination of good times and great food. This season, score big with one of our chef-inspired expressions of pure burger amazingness. Our delicious burgers are made with premium Angus beef, and you can pair it with one of our signature cocktails or a cold craft beer from our huge selection. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar on the Parkway in Huntsville and our new location at Cliff Farm, Highway 72 in Madison.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Hey there, everybody. Bob Baumhauer here, letting you know that we understand that times are tough and we truly believe value matters. So, by popular demand, we brought back our Inflation Bites menu featuring scratch-made meals that will make the whole family smile and your wallet, too. Menu items start at just $7.99 and any entree comes with a free beverage. Try our classic tailgate burger for just $8.99 or our hearty Bam Bam chicken platter for $9.99. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beams likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
And now a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
But that trick never worked.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
I gave you my time. Why you wanna good for the Rockies. Good for the Rockies. I'm happy for the Rockies. They won today.
Y'all made me nervous. I didn't think you were going to show up.
Yeah,
there was a conversation taking
yesterday.
place.
I figured.
Oh, no. When I told him, hey, Braves game's over, we're starting on time, he said, I thought it was Thursday. Yeah. Braves are off tomorrow, by the way. But Rockies winners in a day game today over the Bravos. 2-1 is that final score, as the Braves are now 2 games under 500 on this last day of April. While Colorado, the Rockies are 20 games under 500. They're now 5-25 are the Colorado Rockies. So there's that. That's another Chris Sale game in which the Braves don't get a dub. That is becoming a trend as well. So coming up on the program today, because I did not know the exact start time of this show here today, I backloaded the show. So hour number 2, for those of you that are just...
So hour number 1 is potluck, basically.
Yeah, I got something for you.
We want to hear what you think about it, Wes. We really do.
But coming up...
I always hold back.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You do. Yeah. Someday he'll come out of his shell.
Yeah. By the way, the dump button's ready.
I appreciate that. Yeah. The delay's on, so we're good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That is good to know. Hour number 2, the new voice of the Tennessee Titans, Taylor Zarzour, is going to join us in hour number 2. We'll talk a little bit about the Titans draft and what went on there. And also, right out of the gate in hour number 2, we are a Falcon affiliate. I felt the need to reach out to Dave Archer, and Arch is going to join us as well to start off. But there has been a lot of talk on some bills, either proposals, or actually there's one that got approved by the House that I would like to get into. And those of you in the Albertville area, Crossville area, Decatur area, Russellville area, I'd like to hear from you at 256-576-4977, the telephone number. So the NIL part of it, that did not go through. And it's just your standard, kind of what you see already in Tennessee, Georgia, other states, allowing high school athletes to benefit off of their name, image, and likeness. So we'll see how far that goes. But a bill that did go through the House. In fact, it went
about the State House, right?
State House, the state of Alabama, 72-1. I don't know if you have read up on this. It's the Alabama House of Representatives passed a bill yesterday that would exclude certain English language learner students from public schools' average daily membership when determining athletic competition classification. So, by the way, reclassification for the AHSA comes up this fall. So, and there is only so many days left. In fact, the bill goes to the Senate. There are 4 legislative days left in the 2025 session. So, likely not going to listen, who knows what's going to happen, but the sponsor of the bill, Representative Brock Coven, a Republican from Albertville, I reached out to him, and he called me back and had a lengthy conversation and recorded that conversation just out of the gate, this English language learner students from public schools, just excluding them from the general population.
What do you mean by English learner? That's amazing.
People who don't speak English as their primary language.
Yes.
Okay.
They're as part of their curriculum, they learn
right?
English.
Right.
Well, that's how they're classified, is English language learners.
Oh, that's how the English language
Yes.
learners.
Yes, sir.
Just, yeah. Okay. Don't speak English.
So-
Learning to speak
Or
English.
they arrive not speaking English
Right.
fluent enough to keep up the grade level.
And don't want them to count, unless they play athletics, against the general population of a high school towards where they get classified by the AHSA.
Well, I mean, change the snap count to uno dos tres. What does it matter? I mean,
You know, I'm with you 1,000%.
Well, I don't get it.
I
don't. Why does that?
Well,
that is what our we're doing in the state. Oh, that's what we're worried about.
Thank you. Thank you. This has garnered some attention. Fox 54, our television partner, came by. And so this, if it does go through the Senate and get signed in by our governor, then this will be implemented for not this next academic cycle, but the following year academic cycle.
So what they're saying,
Albertville is going to be a 1A school. Is that what we're talking about?
I mean,
what are we talking about?
Unless they participate in sports,
they will not.
They do not count towards the number of students when they go to classify.
And that number is what is deemed as.
So who comes up with the number? This is so. I just don't get this. This is
the school board or the state school
board.
Where
I'm having trouble with is why do we have to say where do these students speak English or not to determine the size of the school? I mean, because it should be how many students can you dress out?
I mean, so we almost won the state championship.
This is Huntsville High he's talking about.
Yep. We had 29 people out. We had 29 people on our team.
And you almost won the state title.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. So,
what concerns though is are in my mind, and this is where I get uncomfortable. Are we saying that some students
don't count
are less than?
Well, I don't think they're saying they're less than. They just don't count for sports. But I think it's just stupid to worry about that stuff. That's me. I mean, I don't know why we're so worried about that. I mean, to be productive in the United States, you got to learn the language. If you come here,
it'd be helpful.
Yeah, and so we want them to learn the language. If you're bilingual, it's better. I mean, you're just to me.
I can see that because if I were to go to France, they expect me to speak French.
Well, you
go if I went to Spain, country, they expect me to speak Spanish.
100%.
I get that. And it doesn't mean I can't speak English. I have to unlearn the English. This means I have to go to speak the language.
Yeah, anytime you can learn another language, it's a positive.
Yeah,
I mean, total positive. So
I need to learn what language they speak in Bermuda.
Yeah, well, they'll speak any language. Yeah,
Cerveza, por favor.
Yeah, no, they speak English in Bermuda.
Well,
they just speak it a little different. They also speak French in those islands as well. So most of those guys are bilingual. You have to be to survive in a lot of different countries. And I just don't know why we're worried about this. I think we should be worried about a lot of other different things than that.
72-1 is there were 29 abstentions from the floor but 72-1 as this passed almost without any dissent.
Well, the person to talk to in my mind is somebody's advertised on this show and is I can't remember his name right now. That's the way it goes. Yeah,
Never forget
what's his name.
What are you talking about?
Oh, the attorney in Huntsville. Sometimes Sam
Dan?
Gavan. Sam the Man
Sam.
Gavan. Yeah, that's what I call him, Sam the Man. So I was trying to remember his last name.
Thought you were going Danny Aldridge.
No,
Okay.
phone number. I'll call him.
Well, Danny's not a member.
I mean, he's
not a member of the Senate. So, but
Gotcha.
Sam
Yeah,
Gavan is a
he's got-
representative in this area for I don't know my area, but for an area
Used to
in
be
Huntsville.
used to be
Yeah.
your area.
Yeah, I can't keep up
It's
with
my area.
Yeah. So yeah, Sam the Man Gavan would be a good one to talk to, and to see why. And it might be good reasons for this. I don't understand. I didn't have the conversation.
I'm about to play. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. And by all means, if folks out there have an opinion on this, that it did pass the House, has yet to go to the Senate, has to pass the Senate, and then the governor would sign it in.
Well, the governor could veto it too, if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
But not with the 70-something to 1. It's going to come back. Yeah.
So Representative Brock Coven from Albertville, I spoke to him earlier this afternoon. I'll play that conversation on the other side of our first time out.
The guy's from Albertville?
Yes, he is.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence. It's a commitment. A 120-year-old commitment to build in America for America. And during this unprecedented moment in automotive history, you stand to benefit big time. Woody Anderson Ford is now offering employee pricing. You pay what we pay. We've got over 190 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Employee pricing can save you thousands off MSRP, and with over 600 Fords for you to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find just exactly what you're looking for. This offer ends May 31st, so hurry in. Woody Anderson Ford.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill, legendary fun, legendary food.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
All right, before I start this interview that I conducted this afternoon with Representative Brock Coven from Albertville, Republican, there is, by the way, welcome back to Talk Radio WZZN. Where
we do a little bit of everything around here.
A little bit. That is our HD.2 channel, but it's
we're
kind of
multifaceted.
Yeah, we're seeping in over here. The other part of the bill that had popped in late, that wasn't originally part of the bill, is putting 2 supervisors that would be appointed. They would be appointed by the legislature on the central board for the AHSAA. They would be non-voting members, but it'd be like having your parents chaperone your date.
What's the purpose for that? What I mean, so I'm. It's kind of like I don't know whether to be for it or against it. Depends on what the purpose of it is. Why would they want that to happen?
Maybe to super.
I don't want maybe. I want to know what they're thinking. Yeah.
Here is my conversation with Representative Brock Coven.
Yeah, this bill is necessary because I've seen for years now and even decades, immigration is no new issue to our area in Marshall County and DeKalb County, Northeast Alabama. And, there's a lot of issues that arise from that, a lot of complications, and the school systems, I think, see the blunt of that. Overcrowdedness in the classrooms and teachers having to strain on them, having to teach kids in multiple languages. And we've addressed that, I think, in the legislature, funding for ELL programs, bilingual aid. But I think one issue that's been overlooked in this is how it's affecting high school athletics. And so what I've seen and what I'm hearing in my district is, let's take the example of a school like Albertville in the heart of my district.
Yeah.
When I was in high school there in my freshman and sophomore year, 2011, 2012, we were just a 5A school. Averagely competitive, not winning state championships, but certainly, competing, I thought, at a fair level. And then all of a sudden, my junior and senior year, we bump up to 6A, and we thought was odd. And we did have a large immigrant population at the time, so we just assumed, maybe a few more had moved in. And then over time, within the last decade, we've gone from a small 6A to a large 6A to a small 7A. All of a sudden, we're a big 6A school. And, Albertville, a town of probably 20,000 people, having to play Hoover and Bob Jones and Sparkman, and sparked some questions. And people said, "Well, how did this happen?" And what we've seen, we've had thousands of immigrant students over the years enroll into our school systems. And what happens is these students that test in the EL, which is already data the schools collect because they're treated a little differently on the academic side, and they get extra funding. They participate at a much lower level in extracurricular activities such as sports in the high school level. So where a school like Albertville went from 5A to 7A because of our average daily attendance, our athletic pool really didn't accurately reflect that. What we've seen is we go from 5A to 7A, and our poor kids just have a hard time competing against these large 7A schools. Kids are getting hurt. Kids just quit playing sports. Kids transfer to other schools, which is a whole other issue we probably could talk about. And it's hurting public school athletics in my area. And athletics was important to me. I played baseball up until college, and it taught me how to win, how to lose, problem solving, teamwork. Gave an opportunity to go to college even. So and a lot of kids, that could be their only way to go to college. And when I hear from students, in my area that say, "Well, I'm just not going to play sports anymore. It's just not fair what's going on in Albertville, or I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt now because we're playing in a league we shouldn't, or, I'm not going to go out there and lose. Albertville hasn't won a football game in 3 seasons. When you look at Crossville, which is right down the road, Crossville, Alabama was a powerhouse for football in my parents' generation. They went from 2A to 5A. Crossville no longer has a varsity football team because it's this exact issue right here. And I just feel so bad for those students that's had that opportunity taken away from them. So what my bill would do is simply these students that test in English language learners in grades 9 through 11, for the purpose of high school athletic classifications from 7A to 1A, they would only count in that ranking if they play a sport. If they don't play, they don't count. And if they do play, they do count. We're not discouraging anybody from playing. We're not trying to count kids that aren't playing or not count kids that are playing. It's just simply the numbers show they do not participate much at all. So we're only going to count those students if they do play, which is very similarly to how we do on the academic side. Right now for these ELL kids, for their first 5 years of enrollment, their test scores are not included when school systems report their data to the State Department of Education. So that's kind of where I got the idea to begin with. It's already a state law on the academic side.
Interesting. And so what kind of feedback have you gotten really over, this isn't even 24 hours old, but what kind of feedback have you gotten back immediately from this?
It's been overwhelmingly positive, especially in my area in Marshall and DeKalb County, which I would argue is the hub of this issue. Russellville sees it as well, Jefferson County. It's been overwhelmingly positive. I mean, students, teachers, parents, coaches have been begging for relief for years now. And unfortunately, for years, those requests have fallen on deaf ears to the High School Athletic Association, which is why I was forced to bring this to the legislature. I wish I didn't have to do it this way, but it's just what it's come down to. When I have constituents in public schools in my area begging for help, I have no choice but to stand up for them in Montgomery. And so that's how we've gotten to this point and so far. And it's been overwhelmingly supportive.
Tell me about the back and forth, at least the conversations that I'm assuming you've had with Heath Harmon, the executive director of the AHSA, even before we get to February when the bill was initially introduced. What was the lead up like in terms of conversations with Heath Harmon, who's obviously new on the job as well there at the AHSAA?
Yeah, this even went back prior to Heath years ago. When I first got elected, Albertville was dealing with this issue, and I was working with them to get relief from the Athletic Association. A proposal was submitted to the High School Athletic Association from, at the time, we have a different superintendent now in Albertville, but at that time a request was submitted. Administrators from Albertville met with the Athletic Association and was basically laughed out of the room. They thought that we did not have a serious request or a serious issue. I phoned the board members begging for help. I had a phone call with the former director, Alvin Briggs.
Yes,
yeah. And borderline told me I was racist for even thinking this way. I was very disappointed in the conversation he and I had. And now there's a new director. Heath and I sat down at the beginning of session, had a very cordial conversation. I have no personal animosity against Heath Harmon, but I'm very disappointed professionally in still their unwillingness to act and the lies they sent out last night in an email regarding my bill, saying we're discouraging kids from playing, saying we're handling public and private schools different, which made me laugh because they already count private schools different than public schools, saying that they're a private entity. We have no business messing with them. And I said, basically 99% of your members are public schools, which are taxpayer funded. You play in taxpayer funded public institutions. Your board, your director and your employees are members of RSA enjoying our benefits of a public entity. They hire a lobbying firm to lobby the legislation. And I said, you tell me if you're public or private. And so I've just been disappointed. The conversation didn't go anywhere. He'll tell you that they put it up to a vote within their membership earlier in session. That was purely a political move just so they could say they did. Their central board has never taken this issue seriously, and that's why I'm having to do it legislatively.
So the other part of this that I find intriguing is the representation on the board itself. That was an add-on, correct? Did that come from your initial submission, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so that was not part of my original bill or intent. But what I found out is I was going around, talking to members of the House and educating them about what was going on in Marshall County. A lot of them were ignorant. It's not in their districts. They just simply didn't know what was going on. So I had to do a good job educating members. But in reverse, those members were educating me what was going on in their district, issues they've had with the athletic association for years. And, that's where members said, we need to finally have some oversight on that association board. And so that was brought to the floor late last night at the very end of the bill before final passage. And, I considered it friendly. I said, I want to see this formula get implemented the right way. There's been some other issues members had, and that amendment was adopted overwhelmingly positive. In fact, I think that was unanimous. And that's kind of how that got brought to light.
Well, what do you think of that part of the bill?
I think it's needed. It's a non-voting membership. The two is a House and Senate appointee on the board. So we can't go in there dictating policy, but I think it's fair to say they only exist because of taxpayer-funded entities. And so I think those of us who represent taxpayers deserve to know exactly what's going on in their meetings. And while it wasn't my original intent, I certainly supported that amendment.
So, I mean, honestly, I've heard more about, you mentioned it already, Brock, in terms of the multiplier for private schools compared to public. I've heard more about that being an issue more than anything, specifically to high school football, more than anything. But back to the core issue, how big of an issue is this in your area? Is this something how long has this been an issue in your area?
Immigration itself has probably been a 2-decade issue. I would say in regards to the athletic side, probably a decade. We started seeing it, honestly, while I was in high school. We went from 5A to 6A. That was a shock. I mean, Albertville, we got put in, I think it was in Huntsville, Grissom, and Lee.
Yeah.
And, of course, we were playing Arab, Boaz, and Southside. And it was like, what on earth are we doing? And now when 7A exists, we're having to go to Birmingham and Huntsville to play these games. And our poor football players, I just feel so bad for them. And so this issue mainly affects Marshall County, DeKalb County, Morgan County, Franklin County, and Russellville. But, on the private school multiplier thing, that's an issue I hear a lot about from other members. We only have like 2 private schools in Marshall County, so that's not really a big issue in my area.
Yeah.
But I do hear about the multiplier. I had a member yesterday, the Russell representative, said he was so mad because Russell's baseball team got put out of the playoffs from a private school. So he was mad about that. So that's why he supported the amendment, and on top of the EL issue. So it seems to be, I found that there's a lot of issues members have with the association. My district's more of the EL issue. And then when you brought up the private school multiplier, seems to be an issue with, other members.
That is a little bit of.
First of all, when your members of who you're representing comes with a problem, he's trying to fix it. I have no problem with it. I liked his explanation. I kind of, I don't think it's what we should be doing now. But Steve, you yourself on the Alabama High School Association, and we've questioned them for a long time on a lot of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what he's saying is basically they're a cowboy operation. That's what he's just said. And that's why they need to control that. I mean, they've made some outlandish requests from us at this station as well. And I've never heard anything positive in the last 5 years about the Alabama High School Athletic Association. And for him to claim, if this is true, what this guy just said, him to claim they're a private organization, that's a joke. When their employees get state retirement and everything else, that's just a lie. So I get that part. That's why they're putting those 2 people on there for oversight, because they're not getting any, obviously, and they should.
They don't want to be broadsided, which actually I think is a good thing just for informational purposes.
Well, yeah, but they're basically funding these guys, and they're claiming they're a private organization. That's a joke.
But not counting students that go to school.
So, I would argue that I wouldn't be worried about it. But it passed 73-1, so I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have gone with that. I'd be worried about some other things.
So there's that.
I will say the article that we've been reading and I don't know off the top of my head who wrote it or where it came from. But I'm just saying, listening to this guy's interview and reading the article did not do that guy any favors because he explained it a lot better.
Yeah,
the tone and tenor of what he gave in the interview was
makes
different
sense.
from what was printed.
Right.
Well, that's why I wanted to get him on.
Absolutely.
In case
that's the right move.
Yeah. So I was when I said Albertville, I had no idea that it was Albertville. Had no idea. I just know there's a problem.
Albertville.
I just know there's a problem over there.
You know,
I've known it's a problem for some time. So
you know, if you're in Birmingham and you say it was a wreck, you go Malfunction Junction. So you know, either that or 280, and you're right.
Yeah. Well, if they mentioned that a semi hit an overpass, you know exactly where it happened.
Yep.
Because I've only heard of that happening in Birmingham, Alabama, and multiple times.
That's right.
And every time when they say they can't build an overpass, they build an overpass in like less than a month when it was right there. If it had been an overpass in Huntsville, you know, my kids would be my age before they'd see it. So.
Right. Oh, it's talking about someone who lives off of Maston Lake Road. Yeah.
You think?
Moving at a glacial pace. They're being very careful. They're being very careful. They're moving meticulously, making sure
they're gaining on it.
Every single ounce of dirt is in the right spot.
But I just Albertville moms and dads out there, are your kids not playing because you're playing 7A, 6A, whatever the case may be?
I don't know where you draw the line though. I mean, you've got to figure out where you measure.
You can get beat in 5A as easily as you can get beat in 7A.
Hey, as someone who went
to first of all, that's not right at all.
Yeah,
as someone who went to a 1A school and got clobbered every year.
Well, you can get clobbered at any school, but if you ever play 5A, when we were 6A, Huntsville High was 5A one year. Okay,
that was the top level.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. That was there was a 6A schools, but Huntsville High was 5A. Okay.
This is early 80s,
yeah.
Correct?
You go watch a 5A game and you go watch a 6A at that time, which is now 7A. Huge difference. Huge. I mean, if you don't have in 7A 3 to 4 Division I prospects, you're not going to win a game. I mean, you have to have multiple guys that are playing. And, you know, if we'd have played, we were 4A, if I'd have played a 3A team or 2A team, there have been some people seriously hurt. Seriously hurt. I get it. I mean, because you got to field a team, you're going to have, you know, you're going to have some guys.
It's a deeper roster unless you've got the private school multiplier.
Yeah, so I'm not saying what he's doing is right or wrong. I'm kind of on the fence with it. I wish they were doing something else. He explained it very well. And I don't know who it's going to hurt. So that's the question I keep in my mind. Who does this hurt? Does it hurt anybody?
I think this would open up the door for other organizations to say you're not counting those students. Why not these students?
Well, that's kind of my point.
Yeah, well, they'd have to go and get a law for it then.
Well, my point is why the English language learner students?
Yeah.
Why do we pick that group? Why didn't we pick the gifted kids or another kid, or don't count the band or what? You know.
Well, I just think that because those kids aren't playing football. I mean, this is all about football. It isn't about anything else.
Do we just need to set budgets across the board?
I don't know what budgets have anything to do. It's not about money. This is about people have 15 people come out for football and they're playing 6A and 7A. And it's just you're not going to be competitive. This is all about being competitive, having fun. And that's what they're trying to do. Now, you can argue that there's a better way to do it. I can't argue. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if there's a better way. I just wondered why they chose that group.
Yeah.
Well, because
the optics of it.
Because that's weird
to me.
I don't think there's. I mean, if you have people that are coming with H1 in visas, and then like we know they are coming over there, they're not staying forever there. They're just they're just coming for a little while and going back.
Right.
I'm not sure. So I guess that's the problem with that's caused them to go up. It's not because they have band members. It's not because of anything. It's because of immigration and having the people to work the chicken plants over there mostly, and the businesses around that come around with that. It's all good. I don't think this is He's just trying to figure out a way to, because they're not competitive and they don't have the players or the people because there's so many people temporary in school there. You know, coming with the families with the visas. So I understand. He explained it very well. Again, I don't know, you know, it passed
72-1.
Yeah, so it is what it is, and unless somebody
still has to go through the Senate and then get signed by the governor.
Right.
With 4 days left on the legislative calendar.
It'd been better if the high school association was
a little more proactive.
Yes, as always. But I see what you know, he explained what all the issue was by what he just said. I've always wondered what the issue was.
Yeah.
I mean, Bubba, can't remember Bubba's last name, ran it forever. It was an awesome organization. And I don't know exactly who's running it now.
What organization?
The Alabama High School.
The AHSAA.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That organization used to be awesome.
Yeah. But it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You're absolutely right. So,
yeah, and I think the solution to this problem was several years ago. You know, it could have been handled several years ago.
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't have this problem now.
Right.
We could solve this problem with a time machine.
Yeah.
And
But it's been
the horse in the barn earlier.
It's been an issue over there. And I think this guy has come up with a way that he thinks can fix the problem for his constituents. But everybody else voted for it. They didn't have to vote for it. So my whole thing is, why wouldn't you do it? Who does it hurt? So I mean, that's I'm sure that's why it's 72-1.
Bubba Scott is the name you're thinking of.
Bubba Scott. That's right. Great.
We lost him
He
in
was a great
2012.
man. Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a little bit more of my interview. Just by the way, this just a couple of minutes left of the interview. AHSAA does not have the world's greatest PR person. So I say that to say of just dealing with this organization. The AHSAA private, but there is a big public around it, as you've already kind of documented to me right now. This is. I know, at least in this state, we're all about, you know, our independence and freedom, and less is more is honestly what occurring over and over and over. So you think has the AHSAA dictated this being necessary more than anything?
No, they don't think it's necessary at all. I don't even think they think it's a real issue. And I can't tell if they oppose it because they don't like the idea or if they just hate the legislature. I do know a few weeks ago the director was speaking at an event, and he said the Alabama legislature has no business in high school athletics. And I said, that's hilarious considering we're talking about public schools. And I said, if he believes that, then they should only be over private schools, which leads to a much larger conversation, which kind of, we hinted at that on the floor yesterday about other issues we might need to address. So they're not taking it seriously. They're blasting out emails today now, you know, opposing the bill, trying to get senators to vote no. And I don't think they're serious about addressing the issue. And I've waited and waited and waited for them to do it until I couldn't wait anymore. And that's why we're in the situation we're in now.
You think this is going to pass ultimately? I mean, I know I'm asking you to put your, it's hard to predict the future in anything, but from the support that this had yesterday, tell me what you think moving forward.
Yeah, I guess I'm pessimistic just for the sole reason we're running out of time. Session is probably going to end either at the end of next week or the following week. And so we're in a time constraint, which makes me nervous. But I do believe if I have the time to educate senators on the issue, which I started doing, I think it would pass. I mean, to see those House members vote the way they did yesterday certainly gave me some optimism moving forward. I'm hoping you can get this in committee at the end of this week, early next week, to have a chance. But I would say, you know, if this does not pass this session, it wasn't because it didn't have the support. It's just simply because we ran out of time.
And there's only 4 days left from what I read. Is that right?
Yeah. Yesterday was our 26th day, and the Constitution only allows us to have 30 days on the floor, and we still have to have a committee meeting. So that'll eat up a day. So this would only get to the floor possibly on the 29th or 30th a day. And at that point, when you're at that point of session, there's hundreds of bills fighting to get to the floor. It gets caught up in politics. So sometimes things die, and it has nothing to do with the actual bill itself. Like I said, it may just run out of time. But, I'm going to keep fighting until either we end session or until it passes.
Would that, with part of what I've already read, does that kind of fall in line with implementing this not next academic year, but the following, just to give you more time?
Well, yeah, the importance of passing of this session and it taking effect in June is because when the Athletic Association starts counting this fall for the next classification cycle, the 26, 20,
that's
28
right.
cycle.
Yeah,
that's why it needs to be a law this summer and fall for when they start counting this fall. Because if not, we've wasted another 2 years, and it's 2 more years. Athletes are going to be treated unfairly in certain districts.
Because then you're jumping into a whole other hoop of whether or not reclassification can happen inside that 2-year cycle of.
Exactly.
Boy, goodness gracious. And just when you thought you were done with high school athletics, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Brock, I can't thank you enough for the time, and for individuals what is the best way just to seek out their representation here locally and just express their concerns? Is that the best way folks can? Is that the best thing that they can do as citizens?
Yeah, I think so. Contact your senators, just like, constituents contacted me, whether you support or oppose a bill. I think that I still believe in the legislative process and democracy. And I think contacting legislators is an effective way. But I have hope. I'm going to keep fighting this week and next week, hopefully to get this across the finish line.
Appreciate the time, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's my conversation with Republican Brock Coven from Albertville on this bill that did pass the House, and it is now headed towards the Senate, but there is only 4 days left, and I didn't hear a whole lot of positivity there at the end from Brock.
No, I mean, so yeah, I mean, when we first talked about it, before I heard his explanation, I was like, why would they do this? But if your constituents are coming to you saying you need to do something, that's why you do stuff. That's why they elected him. So he's come up with an idea. It's a popular idea down there. He orientates it very well, the reasons why. I'm sitting here thinking about a reason why you wouldn't do it. It doesn't hurt anybody. If a kid that doesn't speak English wants to play, he can. Then he's counted. So doesn't give you an unfair advantage not to count someone in their playing. I don't. Again, I think there's some other things they need to be doing down there. But if your constituents, or you're supposed to represent your constituents, and that's they think that's an issue. And one thing I will say, people get hurt in football, but you want your kids to have good experiences. You want them to have other schools have obviously competitive advantages against Albertville because they have a lot of people that aren't going to may or might not be there next year that aren't the football in other countries is soccer. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I just I get it. I get what he's trying to do. Again, I don't think it's something that is on the top of my list. Now, the way the ASHA has acted, if what he's saying is accurate, is abysmal, and they might need to find some new leadership. Listen, why come you can't sit down and just tell the truth and have a conversation? Anyway, we know how they treat us at times. And it's like, it's not good.
Is the ultimate example what we have right here in our own backyard with Columbia? I mean, Columbia High School hasn't won a game in a while.
Well,
but they brought in a new head coach.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Coates.
There's
a little bit more momentum around it. I'm not saying they're going to win a state title next year.
Well, no, but I don't know if they have the same. I don't know if they have the same issues that Albertville do. They might have. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. So
the right coach and the right fit is.
But that's the different subject. What we're talking about. We're talking about you have a bunch of foreign students in one
that
place
are counted on your student enrollment. No, that's not the case at Columbia.
So I don't know how we're.
No, I'm talking about losing.
Yeah, well,
and you mentioned about having a positive experience,
right?
That's why
everybody can't win, but that we're talking about that. The reason Columbia is losing is a lot different from what the reason
Albertville.
Yes, 100%. Has nothing to do with each other. Zero. And hopefully Sammy can get. What a great player he was.
Yes, he was.
Maybe he can get it turned around, because one of the problems is if you're really good at football and you're at Columbia and you're not been very well coached and there's not much enthusiasm about it, you're going to transfer. You're going to figure out a way to get out of there. And that's what they've been doing. So if he can get people to stay, they'll be fine.
256-576-4977, the telephone number. Dave Archer is going to join us at the top of the hour. We'll talk a little Atlanta Falcon draft, and plus which we'll hear from the new voice of the Tennessee Titans, Taylor Zarzour, also coming up in hour number 2. Let's go ahead and take our final timeout here in hour number 1. It's The Drive here on a Wednesday.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution to your specific needs. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title, because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Temperature is relatively warm as we head into the overnight early into your Thursday morning. We're only going to drop into the mid-60s. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. Temperature climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. There's a better opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms through the heart of Thursday afternoon. Some of that activity could be on the stronger end of the spectrum, and then maybe some gusty winds across the Tennessee Valley. That activity will subside as we head into the overnight early into your Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And now a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
But that trick never worked.
Just to put a bow on it, Albertville's schedule for the Aggies, 7A Region 4 for 2025. The schedule is out, at least according to one of my favorite sources, by the way, the Alabama High School Football Historical Society. It's a great website. It really is. At Arab versus Boaz, home against Florence. That's your first region game on September 5th. Then host Sparkman at Austin, at Grissom, bye week on October 3rd. Host Huntsville, at Bob Jones, at James Clements, and host Gunnersville for the final game of the regular season. That is your Albertville Aggies 2025 football schedule from the AHSAA.
They've been playing Huntsville High for quite some time.
They have.
And they used to be competitive back in the day.
They did. In fact, let's see here. Opponent-wise, they have played Huntsville. Where are you, Huntsville? They've played Huntsville 17 times, and it's 5-12. That's their record versus the Crimson Panthers, 5-12 overall. So there is some success there for the Albertville Aggies. In fact, the last time that they beat Huntsville, they're telling me that there was a forfeit in 2020, but I mean, that was the COVID year. So further back, 1992 is the last time Albertville beat Huntsville. 1992.
That was a long time ago.
That's been a minute.
They had a really good quarterback up there. I don't remember who it was. So say that on there.
I'd have to dig deeper into the website. So now that we're done with the NFL draft this cycle, there's already odds on who will be the number one pick of the 2026 NFL draft.
Shadur Sanders.
DraftKings has already put it out there, and it is not Shadur Sanders.
Well, he said his name so much. It's a reflex.
It you know
is.
That
It
ratings,
really is.
I think I heard this on Tom's show. The ratings were up 40% over last year.
Oh, were they?
And they went straight down after he was picked.
Arch Manning is
how much money do they get paid? Extra money if the ratings are up, Steve?
Because of the advertiser, yes.
So how much money the NFL made by not drafting Shadur Sanders in the first round?
Well, this is something. Now, I've had the pleasure the last couple of days filling in on the Blitz with John Abraham while Joe Hunk is welcoming the newest
9
Hunk
to
to
11.
their house.
Yeah. 9 to 11.
9 to 11 every week.
Was he born with a mohawk?
Yeah. She was born
that is
beautiful.
Her
head of hair,
daughter
combed into a mohawk.
His daughter's name is Murphy, and I'm not sure Murphy has a mohawk, but that would be fantastic if she
Dale
did.
Murphy?
Well, no, that is her name. Is
I understand.
Murphy.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to where I was going, assuming I had a point. We were discussing with Shedeur Sanders, and we couldn't understand why. We talked to Jerry Glanville yesterday.
Yes, we did.
He was pro Shedeur Sanders.
Yes,
Nick
he is.
Saban was pro Shedeur
Yes,
Sanders.
yes.
And what did and these are two guys. I mean, Jerry was talking about. Coach was telling us last night. He's been picking them right since 1974, and Nick Saban's done all right. What secret sauce do they see that nobody else saw? Why does he end up number 5 on the Browns?
I think, first of all, you had a bunch of people picked in the first round last year. So those guys are out.
Yeah.
It was a big quarterback class last year.
Yeah. What, 7 in the first round? 6 or 7?
6, definitely. I think it was 7.
Yeah, in the first round. So now you're down to 25 teams.
Right.
Now you take
those are roster spots.
Yeah. Well, no, but you don't draft a number 1 quarterback if you got a guy you like. You don't want to mess your team up by having a quarterback competition and that's what they look at now.
Right.
Then you take all the negative things that Dion said.
Right.
I mean, talking about the right team has to do this and this.
I'm going to pull an Eli Manning.
And then Shedeur Sanders comes and tells in his interview, says, "Hey, I got to go to a team where they're ready to change their culture." So, and then you got Dion who talks about different things. A lot of people didn't have him as a number 1 grade, have him number 2 grade. There's only been 2 quarterbacks in the second round the last 10 years, because you don't draft quarterbacks in the second round. They have all these rules.
Mm-hmm.
And then it could have been because they run the ratings up 40%, so they get paid more. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that I've watched him play. He holds the ball too long for the NFL. There's guys in the NFL, defensive ends, that can run just as fast as he can. And if you run around back there, it's bad. But,
we'll see.
I would have taken him in the 3rd round at the latest. I mean, right then, because then it becomes you can tell him, hey, we got you to learn, to be a backup and get better and work on his craft. And then if he does well, he does well. But you don't have to waste him. But he's
got to make the team first.
Right. You're a 3rd round draft pick. You're making the team if you're
5th
a quarterback.
round. But a 5th round.
5th round, and when you got 5 quarterbacks, there's obviously there's 2. Really, they're going to cut 1 though, because the head guy's out. They'll have 2 guys on the roster and 1 guy on the
practice squad.
They've named it different.
Yeah,
it used to be the taxi squad.
The crash test.
Because you were one decision. Like if a guy, let's say the guard turns his ankle and you're on the taxi squad back in the day, they called it the taxi squad because you're 1 ankle turn away from getting a taxi to the airport. So, yeah. And it's still that way today. I mean, you see guys every day get cut.
I did want to let folks know DraftKings odds-on favorite for the 1st overall pick next year is Arch Manning at a plus 225. That's followed by Drew Allard, the quarterback at Penn State. That is followed by Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. Is there something I don't know about Garrett Nussmeier at LSU?
Let me tell you. If he cuts out the interceptions and the bad plays, he could be really good. But if he has more bad plays, he's Quinn Ewers.
Final name on this list, Auburn fans, is Kendrick Falk.
Number 15. He's good. I've been telling you that.
I thought that's why I wanted to tell you that.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Sports Center. I'm Nick DeLuca. Pair of Game 5s in the NBA playoffs tonight. Rockets Warriors headed back to Houston. Dubs with a chance to close the series up 3-1. Warriors 14-7 in road closeout games under Steve Kerr. Only series they've lost, with an opportunity to clinch at any point the 2016 NBA Finals. Houston -4.5 tonight on ESPN Bet. LeBron and Luka are the top two scorers in NBA history when facing elimination. They'll need some of that tonight. T-Wolves up 3-1 in their series, can win it in L.A. Minnesota trying to win a series in consecutive seasons for the first time in team history. Lakers -5.5 on ESPN Bet. Play-by-play will be on ESPN radio affiliates tonight beginning at 9:30 Eastern. In baseball, Yankees and Orioles wrapping up their series in Baltimore. New York became the first team to open a game with 3 straight homers multiple times in a season. Aaron Judge was in the middle of both. He's homered again, a 2-run shot to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead into the second inning. 10th of the year to tie the major league lead. He's got 64 in his last 162 games. Cade Povich and Carlos Carrasco, the pitching matchup in that one. New York Live -190 on ESPN Bet. In the NFL, Jets quarterback Jordan Travis informing the team of his intention to retire today. Last year's 5th-round pick out of Florida State suffered a severe leg injury in November of 2023.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, the Clippers face an elimination game at home. I'll tell you why all the pressure is on James Harden to get it done. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
You know, you guys are missing the best show on radio. What's happening in that talk studio during the commercial breaks? Welcome back to The Drive.
Sometimes we have to have conversations, during the show.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Show prep. You do show
prep. That is Brian Temple behind the glass, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. And we've been talking a lot about the NFL draft this week in particular, and a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of waiting for a certain quarterback from Boulder, Colorado. But as an Atlanta Falcon affiliate here, I am genuinely excited on what the Falcons did in the first round, as Dave Archer from the Atlanta Falcons radio network is kind enough to join us. How are you, Arch?
Good, fellas. How y'all doing this morning or this afternoon? Sorry.
Doing real well. I'm telling you. What has the reaction been in the ATL, specifically in the first round, with what the Falcons addressed?
Yeah, you guys would have loved being in the building, being in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Of course, there was a big draft party, and there's about 8,000 fans wandering the floor of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Had some areas set up to meet some of the current players, some of the former players, and there was a couple of stations you could get a little liquefied if you wanted to. So there was a lot going on the stadium floor. But as things began to build towards what the 15th selection was going to be, there was an anticipation, and I think you know where I'm going with this, is things began to fall in Atlanta's direction. You know, there was a couple of guys that I think was on the radar for a lot of fans that felt like, well, that's going to be too rich for our blood. We're not going to be able to get there. And he's not going to be there when we pick at 15. And then all of a sudden New Orleans picks an offensive player, or Carolina picks an offensive player, then New Orleans does. And you start seeing all these offensive players coming off the board, and you look up and you say, wait a minute, one of those Georgia players is going to be sitting there. And all of a sudden, you know, the 49ers take Michael Williams, and then you knew that the teams in front of you that were immediately in front of you were not going the direction that you wanted to go, and that was Jalen Walker, the outstanding linebacker for Georgia. And what we thought was a pipe dream going in and kind of prognosticating that, okay, maybe Jalen Walker, that'd be a great get for us because of the abilities, the multi-abilities that he has, but he's not going to be there. Well, sure enough, 15 comes around and Walker's there. And then you have this interminable piece of time where Atlanta's on the clock for 10 minutes, in almost 9 minutes and 45 seconds, and they turn in the card. And it is, in fact, Jalen Walker. And guys, I wish you could have been there with the reaction of the crowd. It was like a home game. It was like Georgia taking the field. It was like the Falcons taking the field. The place exploded. You know, of course, you know the history of Atlanta and taking Georgia players and how successful Georgia players have been over this recent time. So it was unbelievable. And then at the back end of the first round for Terry and his staff to jump back in and get the guy they were targeting all along. And James Pierce Jr. was just a coup of coups when it came to first round draft picks.
So, it sounds like they anticipated taking James Pearson earlier in the first round with the 15th pick because they didn't think Jalen Walker would be there. Correct?
That's the way I read it, guys. And I don't know if they were going to stay at 15 to get him. This is pure speculation on my part. And I think it's one of the reasons maybe it took so long to get the card in to say, hey, we're going to take Jalen Walker's, because I think they had been working, you know, the previous 30 to 45 minutes on, okay, what's 15 going to look like? And the guy we really like is James Pierce Jr. He's going to fit what we want to do. Got the same body type that Jeff Ulbrich had in with the Jets with Will McDonald Jr., the kid they drafted out of Iowa State 2 years ago. He's got a very similar build to Leonard Floyd, the former Georgia player who's now on the team that they acquired in free agency. So Pierce Jr. seemed to fit their kind of the mode and the body type they wanted to go get the quarterback. And then all of a sudden they looked up, wait a minute, Jalen Walker's still on the board, and we've got him rated as one of the 3 best players in the draft. We're going to have to get on the phone and quell some of this potential draft or a trade idea. This is my take. This is why I think it took so long, so they could keep some things in place so they could get back in if they wanted to get James Pierce Jr., who was, as you said, I think that's the guy they coveted all along. And I think they were planning on trying to trade back and get some more draft capital and maybe take Pierce Jr. somewhere between 22 and 26 or somewhere in that neighborhood. Again, all speculation on my part. Terry Fontenot did not tell me that. That's my read on it. That's the way I felt about it.
So when the Falcons draft, do they draft the best player or the best at need, or it just depends?
Well, it's been the best player they felt like was on the board prior to this year. And as it turns out, this year it fell in line with the best player they had on their board, just happened to be a player of extreme need. We know that Atlanta's got to get after the passer. They've not been able to do that not only last year, but for the last 10 years, Atlanta has not been able to rush the passer with any degree of success to create some problems for the other team's offense. So they wanted to attack that. And James Pierce Jr., they felt like, based on their scouting and some of the conversations they had, that was going to be the guy who was going to help them get that done. And then all of a sudden, here's Jalen Walker sitting there, a guy that they had rated in their top 5 on their board, and he's still on the board at 15. It was, you got 2 birds in the same tree here. You're going to grab 2 guys that can affect you dramatically moving forward.
Okay, question that I'm sure you've heard all week. Where did the Falcons have Shedeur Sanders?
Where did they have him?
Yeah,
they
have him as a first-round grade.
I don't know. I don't know where. Most everybody had Shedeur somewhere in the first 32 picks, I'm assuming. We obviously, there was no conversation this year.
Yeah,
of course.
Thankfully, about quarterback.
You think?
So yeah, the only talk about quarterback was the guy that's now the backup, and would he go someplace else potentially on draft day to potentially get you another draft pick? That was the only maybe idle conversation was about any quarterback play for the Falcons.
Well, on that subject, Arch, how confident do you feel that Kirk Cousins will be an Atlanta Falcon when they suit up this fall?
Yeah, and I think that there's a good chance that Kirk will move someplace else. I think that they've played it the best way they can, and I'm saying they, the Falcons, in that they're tied to the contract. There's no question about that. I'm sure you guys have talked about that significantly, but in their best interest was to hang on to him because he gets more valuable as we move closer to the season with teams that are still a little bit quarterback needy. We see what's going on in Pittsburgh. Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? If it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, then maybe Kirk Cousins comes into play there. And that there's going to be some things happen to some quarterbacks. Potentially, maybe we get into the season or some point, and you could argue that Kirk is going to be the best backup quarterback in the National Football League starting the season. Now he's expensive, and Atlanta's going to shoulder a great deal of that money. But that would be a way that they could garner potentially a draft pick or something along those lines that helps them for next year.
All right, Arch, I got to talk about it. I mean, everybody's talking about it. I know Wes mentioned Shadur, but the situation that involved the prank phone call, I obviously bad look, obviously, and of course the punishment came down today, $250,000 and then $100K for the defensive coordinator. It's a bad look overall, honestly. But I just cannot help but want to get your 2 cents on it since you're right there tied in with the franchise, sir.
Yeah, and it's tough for me to really, go much deeper than what the organization, what their statement was when they released it. They obviously, just opened up their arms and said, "Hey, what do you want us to do for the league? We'll provide you any information we can," which they did. They operated as transparent as they possibly could to give them all the information, and then the league made their decision. I think that certainly when things like this happen, whether it's the thing last night that happened with Tyrese Halliburton's dad and Giannis, there has to be something handed down that prevents that from happening, or if there's a lesson learned. I don't think we learn anything if nothing happens. There's no
100%.
ramifications. Nobody's culpable for it. So there has to be something happening. And I don't know what else they could have. This was probably what they needed to do, and the fine certainly is warranted. From what I understand, Jax is going to be heavily involved in some community service, which is going to be kind of his penance for this thing. He and Jeff are going to do a lot of community service around here. Not that Jeff wouldn't have been involved in that anyway, but his son Jax probably wouldn't have been. And so now that's going to be something that's going to be a reminder of him that this was a mistake that he made, and that maybe we can get some good out of it by serving the public and the community here in Atlanta with some community service. So that's going to be his penance. That he'll certainly, the fines are pretty stiff for both players, both coach and team.
Yeah. So how old's Jax?
He's 21.
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
I mean,
and one thing.
I did some pretty dumb stuff at 21.
Yeah, and we I think we all did. But I mean, the one thing about this was not the only prank call that was made. Not that justifies anything, but obviously Shadur has a tremendous standing of what he did in college ball. A tremendous player at Colorado and Jackson State, and then of course he's Deion's son, and Deion played in Atlanta and all. So we understand the significance of all of that. But from what I understand, there were 6 or 8 other calls that were made to other players, very on the civility, but not by these particular 2 kids, by other people that had gotten access somehow to these phone numbers. So maybe need to look into that too, as to how. And that's one of the things the league was looking into was, how are we doing this? How is our process in allowing these numbers to be distributed? And that's something there I think the league is learning from as well. But obviously this one gets the more notoriety because of who it was, but there were other players that had gotten some of these phone calls, not by Jax Ulbrich and his friend, but by some other people as well.
Yeah. So I think that happens every year. And I think normally it might be one of their friends or somebody that has their number that maybe doesn't like them anymore or what, I think this is a common thing. What makes this bad, of course, it all came out today, is Jax had gotten the number off his dad's computer. And that's, that's they're supposed to be protecting that information, this or that, just like in our business or anything else.
How would you guys? Let me ask you this question. You guys are around, watch the SEC football and report on SEC football very closely. This is it reminds me, now it's not, this is much more, there's much more venom behind this one than the one I'm going to mention, but Alabama's quarterback constantly being called out by the LSU fans, somehow getting his phone number, it's become a deal where guys, when they score for Alabama, do the phone call thing in the end zone. It reminded me of that to a certain extent, trying to, get the guy to lose some sleep or worry about something, or something along those lines. Now, this one had a lot more venom to it. There's no question about it. So maybe not fair to compare that, but you guys.
Well, but I think it's very comparable.
Well, what it does is somebody actually put his number online for everybody to look at. And that's, it's the same thing. It's a privacy thing. This is whoever did it should be, in my mind, prosecuted. If you use somebody else's number and they use it, I'll tell you, we played Georgia. The 2 times I played Georgia at Alabama, one was in Georgia, and they had to bring cops because the students kept running through our hotel, banging on our doors that night.
Where was the security, man? My goodness.
I think they were I kind of recognized one of them. I think he was one of the first ones to run by banging on our door. Then he came back in a cop uniform.
I went to Iowa State. We had security on floors and stuff like that. They were going to arrest you. Where's the Alabama security?
Yeah. So this is even worse. So the next year, or the year before, actually, it was the year before, we played them in Birmingham, and we're doing our pregame meal, and next to us is the Georgia pep rally with the band. They had the band and everything.
Well, was Vince there?
I don't think Vince was there. I think he was with the team.
Yeah.
But the rest of the Georgia community that had come to Birmingham were in there. And
so you tell me Barbara Dooley was there.
There's no doubt she was there. but nonetheless, that was the last time we stayed at that hotel. So they lost a good contract. Yeah. It was a downtown Sheraton in Birmingham.
Okay, as long as it wasn't the Winfrey, right? Where they had the
No, I don't think the Winfrey wasn't there then. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, the Falcons.
Evidently, they didn't have any security either. So it turns out.
Well, the Falcons haven't ranked in the top 20 in sacks in the last 7 years. But with what the Falcons did right out of the gate, I'm pretty excited about and what they gave up, Arch, as well, to get back up to 26. Am I wrong to think that the Falcons think that they're going to be pretty good this year?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that and you make a good point. You give up the 20, what was the 26 first round draft pick. So where is that going to be?
Yeah.
And so now you start. I know a lot of people say, well, they gave up way too much. There's some of these draft pundits, the Mile Kuypers of the world, whoever, saying, oh, they gave up too much. Well, how do you know where Atlanta's going to be drafted in 26 if they're as good as they think they're going to be? If they fix some of their pass rush issues, they're going to be able to get off the field, and Penix is going to touch the ball more, and Bijan Robinson and Drake London are getting more opportunities. This is going to be a team that's going to be tough to handle. They were just one game away from going to the playoffs this last year with all the upheaval that was going on at quarterback and a leaky defense. So if they shored up some of that stuff, who's to say they're not picking in the back end of the first round next year? And wouldn't James and is James Pierce Jr. better than anybody they could pick, say 23 to 32 next year? Who's going to be on the board? So I mean, I think you got to take your shot when you've got it, and they had that opportunity.
100%.
Not to mention the fact they got back that other pick. You know, they lost the second-round pick this year, but then they got the third-round pick, and they got two guys that hunt in the back end. You guys tell me. You guys have been following this a long time. When was the last time you remember a team bringing in two guys that are going to potentially be starters on this team that had 23 career interceptions?
That's a lot.
Billy Bowman Jr. and Xavier Watts. They had 23 career interceptions. They've taken 5 of them back for touchdowns. You talk about guys hunting on the front end.
Yeah, that's an art.
Like Walker and Pierce. You got guys hunting in the back end to take the football away. I mean, that's pretty powerful.
I'm excited, and I know the schedule comes out May 14th. I want to say
May 14th.
So I mean, we know who the Falcons are playing, but not when. So I think there's a lot to be excited about. Honestly, no
question. I think that everybody's excited here. The Walker pick was a fever pitch in the stadium, as I mentioned. This little, obviously, this blip on the radar here, where it seems like we're our own worst enemy sometimes. When we get a little flow going, then something happens to kind of shed a little bit or put a shade it a little bit with what happened with the Ulbrich scenario. But I think we've come out on the other side. The league's made their judgments. We can push on and move on from that, learn from that, everybody that was involved in that, and now really concentrate. The last time we had 4 rookies come in and start for our team was in 2016, and you went to the Super Bowl. And I'm not talking about this team. I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl, but that's what you got in the draft. You got impactful guys that are going to come in and affect the side of the ball that probably cost you the last 2 games of the year. I mean, Penix makes the great drive against Washington on Sunday night, hits Pitts to tie the game, and we don't see the ball again in overtime. Yeah. They go the length of the field, and Jaden Daniels shoves it in the end zone. And then the last game of the year, which, as it turned out, Tampa won, it wouldn't have mattered, but you let Carolina put 44 on the board, and Penix put 38 on the board with his offense. I mean, you get those 2 wins, we're in the playoffs, even with all the kind of the flaws and things that were on this team. I think the excitement level should be through the roof. I think you got more than enough of an opportunity to win your division. And as we know, you got to get in the dance. That's what it takes to go win this thing.
So is Kyle Pitts, has he turned the corner now? He seemed like he kind of took a step back in his first 2 years.
Yeah, I think that, obviously the first year he had Matt Ryan throwing in the football, and we saw the glimmer of what he could potentially be. Not scoring touchdown. I think he only scored 1 touchdown that year, but he's over 1,000 yards and was a Pro Bowl player. Then he had the injury midway through that second season, and I think that really affected him, guys, mentally. I think that you guys probably saw it. The next year he came back after the knee injury, got hurt about week 8 or something like that his second season. You could tell that he was trying to protect it. He dropped his shoulder and he wouldn't run through things, and so he was minimized significantly in his third year. I thought we started to see him maybe come out of it some last year, but the consistency wasn't there. So here's his opportunity. He now has a quarterback that wants to throw the ball down the field, a guy that wants to put him up the bat and make some plays. Let's hope he answers the call because, they haven't picked up his 5th-year option. I'm sure you guys just saw that Drake London's option was picked up today, I think. And so, that's what you want as a play. He's a number 1 pick. You don't want to be labeled as a bust or you got to go find someplace else to play to restart your career. You want to be the guy they thought you drafted. They kept calling him the unicorn. This is the opportunity because he's got a quarterback that's going to sling it.
Arch, you're the best. I appreciate the candor and the information as always, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what the schedule really shakes down, and would love to get you back on what you think about this schedule once it's released on the 14th of May.
You guys call me anytime. I love coming on with you guys. I know you guys are deep into it and paying attention to what's going on. I'd love to come back on. You let me know.
Appreciate it, Arch. That is David Archer, as, of course, part of the Atlanta Falcons radio network, which we are an affiliate of. And speaking of the National Football League, a new voice of the Tennessee Titans is on deck, but he's everywhere. SEC country, golf, now the voice of the Titans. We'll talk to Taylor Zarzer on the other side from Titans Radio.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
Stevenson's going to send this one into the gap. JC Wilburn get to it. He dives and dives.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
Always fun talking National Football League there with Dave Archer. And I tell you, our next guest, we can dive into pretty much anything. Dude's been at the Masters in the last couple of weeks and also hanging out with the number 1 overall draft pick as well, because he's now the voice of the Tennessee Titans. Taylor Zarzour is kind enough to join us here this evening. How are you there, voice of the Titans?
I'm doing great. Hope you guys are.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, what's that feel like on your end, being the voice? I mean, there's only 32 of those jobs available, but tell me about that process and how the reaction's been and just being the voice of an NFL team.
Well, I mean, as you know, Nashville means a lot to me. It's where the beginning of my career was, and my wife went to school at Sewanee, not far from there. Our best friends live there. We've talked for years about trying to get back to Nashville. I never thought this would be the way we would do it, but I'm thrilled for Mike Keith that he's going back to his alma mater to be the voice of the Vols. And when that happened, I looked into it, and as I continued to pursue the opportunity, I just fell in love with the people that work there, and I'm thrilled to be a tiny part of the team. I'm Burke Nihill, the president of the team, Mike Borgonzi, the new general manager, Brian Callahan, the coach. There's a lot of great energy around the Titans now, and I know there's been a lot of changes there in the last year or so, and this is a tiny part of that. But it's going to be an honor to watch this team be built in 2025 and into the future and into the new stadium in 2027. Yeah, it is. It's an incredible exclusive fraternity to be in. I love play-by-play, and I've been concentrating on that mostly for the past decade. And to get to do it at the highest level in a town that my wife and I love dearly it really is. It's a dream come true. I know that's a cliche thing to say, but I really mean it.
Cam Ward, tell me your first impressions of sitting down with him, and more or less the keys are going to be handed over to Cam Ward. What's your impressions of just getting to know Cam?
He is somebody that has earned every single thing that he's ever gotten. He's a self-made, incredibly confident young man who comes from a terrific family that has followed him everywhere. Incarnate Word, Washington State, Miami, they've never missed a game. And now they'll be in Nashville, Tennessee, and wherever the Titans play on the road for years to come. He has a Michael Jordan, Larry Bird type personality to me, in that he loves to get under the skin of his teammates. He is always challenging them. He loves to watch film. He's constantly thinking about how he can get better. He knows what every other person on the field is doing or is supposed to be doing. And there are a lot of people that come out of college these days that can't say that. The game has lended itself to being just focusing on athleticism, maybe more than the fundamentals. Well, he's a throwback. He's got a tremendous amount of athleticism, but he loves to work on his craft, and he loves preparing to watch film. He loves checking off receivers. He's better at finding his second and his third receiver than he is at his first sometimes. He does not like attention, though. He's not, he wore his grandfather's suit to the draft. He's Travis Hunter, gets all the attention because of what he wore to the draft, and good for him now that he'll play in the same division for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But with all the confidence that he has, he's not looking to seek the spotlight or get clicks or become, a celebrity. He is looking to be a great football player for the Tennessee Titans. And I'm not the only one that is raving about him. Everyone inside the organization is doing the same. It was the obvious pick. People will say, well, the Giants and other teams could offer you all these picks. Well, they can't offer you as much of a sure thing as you're ever going to see in what they could get with Cam Ward in the first pick in the draft. You don't know what you're going to get with those other picks. I can tell you the Titans are as confident as you could possibly be that Cam Ward is going to turn into what the Texans have with C.J. Stroud, what the Patriots think they might have with Drake May. You've seen Jaden Daniels, Washington. There's another one. That's probably the first one to mention.
Yeah.
Like that's what the Titans think they have in Cam Ward. And from my lens, I absolutely believe they did the right thing. And you can see it just with the personality that Cam has.
Was there any, from what you could gather information-wise, that was the perception heading into last Thursday, it was Cam Ward. Was there any discussion on anybody else for the Titans?
I mean, sure, they did their homework on everybody over the past few months, but I think in the last month or so, it has been very clear that was going to be their pick. They went through this process, and they went through, obviously, the Senior Bowl and the Combine and watching as much tape and bringing in a bunch of players for private workouts and had a ton of meetings with everyone. They wanted to do their homework, but yeah, it became clear quite a while ago that Cam Ward was going to be their selection. They continued to listen to other teams, but short of somebody offering a starting quarterback to them, and I mean a bona fide starting quarterback to them, they weren't going to give this pick up. And again, it's because they believe that this guy very quickly can become one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And I just mentioned Daniels and Stroud, and we'll see about Drake May, but certainly Daniels and certainly Stroud very quickly have had success and led their teams to the playoffs. A Washington team that hadn't been there for decades, a Houston team that was one of the worst teams in the NFL 2 years ago before Stroud got there. That's what the Titans think they have. But I would also say, the Titans know they have a lot to do, that they have to continue to build this roster, and they have to build it with character guys around Cam. And they think that they will be a competitive team in 2025. But the thing that I really like about what they're doing is that they're not skipping any steps here. If they win 3, 4, 5 more games than they won last year, great. That's progress. And then the next year, if they are a playoff contender, great. That's progress. And then by the time they open the new stadium in 2027, if they're a championship level football team, I think that's the goal here. You don't need to rush this. Let's make sure that the team is built correctly. And that is clearly what Mike Borgonzi, Chad Brinker, and Brian Callahan, and Amy Adams Strunk, you name it. The entire organization is committed to right now.
I'm talking to Taylor Zarzour, voice of the Titans, and I also mentioned about the Masters as well. I gotta pivot over there because that was an incredible playoff, and there's one tournament in particular that I always pay attention to. I am a child of the South, and that is the Masters. But being there down in Augusta, I got to get your temperature on. It wasn't the greatest starts for Rory, but man, what a finish.
It was wild. It had as much emotion as a thrilling NFL playoff game or thrilling NBA playoff game had, meaning that, it felt like you were cheering and dejected for a team instead of a player. I mean, it had so many twists and turns in that final round, which has kind of been a microcosm of what Rory McIlroy has dealt with in major championships in the last decade. And I think the neatest thing about it, our perch where Mike Tirico, Johnson Wagner, and I broadcast from is between the 9th green and the 18th green at Augusta National. And it is right off of the green. It's, some 30 feet away from where Rory made the putt to win the Masters and complete the career Grand Slam. There isn't another place that I can think of publicly, Steve, where you don't have your phone with you. And you can't have it at Augusta National. And I love it. I love everything about that because it requires every person in attendance to give their entire attention to what's happening in front of them. When else do you ever do that? When you're out in public, you always are filming big moments and you're looking at your phone and you're trying to share those moments with somebody by either typing on your phone or videoing on your phone. Instead, everybody is totally focused on this. And when it's over, you either hug the people next to you or you just raise your arms in the air. It was wild. The Texas A&M LSU 7 overtime game we did on SEC Network won an ESPY for Game of the Year. And that has always been at the top of my list of events that I've called. This is right next to it as truly as enjoyable and memorable of an event as I've called. Tiger Woods winning in 2019 there and winning his 5th Masters would certainly be on the list as well. But I'd even put this ahead of that. And it's because of what you said. Just the twists and turns, the drama, the feeling that, oh my gosh, he is going to do this. Oh my gosh, he is going to blow this. wait a minute, no, oh my gosh, he is going to do this. And how many times you thought that? I think that's why it surpasses, most of the Masters in history, if not all of them.
That second shot on the playoff hole, I mean, Rose stuck it. And I mean, that was just an incredible shot by Rory right there. I mean, with everything that you just said about the back and forth, all spot on. I mean, that felt like the moment for Rory McIlroy more than anything, that second shot on the playoff hole there on 18.
Well, I mean, to your point, Rose's shot grazed the flagstick as it went by. I mean, it was an incredible shot, and you're thinking, wow, he is going to win this thing. And they are very close friends. There wouldn't have been many people outside of Justin Rose's family that would have wanted to see that, but we came very close to seeing it. But yeah, the answer was incredible. It was almost like Rory needed more pressure, in order to cross the line there. But I spent some time with him afterwards, and the amount of relief that he had, I don't know that I've ever seen that in an athlete before. And, obviously my family and I are coming to Nashville again, and we're very excited about that, but we still have a house in Charlotte, and we're not getting rid of it for a little while. And next up for Rory McIlroy, well, he's playing next week on the PGA Tour, but the next major championship is a mile from our house at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. And if he wins that, Steve, and wins the first two legs of the Grand Slam this year, man, what a summer we are in for. He's won 4 times at Quail Hollow on the PGA Tour.
Wow.
And this year it's hosting the PGA Championship. So this could become a massive year in golf if he does that.
Wow. I mean, wrapping my head around what you are able to do, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean,
do you think golf has recovered from the pretty much the loss of Tiger Woods?
Yeah, I think that is I think there's a level of audience that he only was able to bring because he brought in everybody that loves golf watched, but so many people that never watch golf or never have watched golf or never will watch golf again watched, because it's just a million reasons. I mean, the diversity factor, just the electricity, the fact that he's the greatest player ever in the history of the game from a talent standpoint. Jack Nicklaus is the most accomplished major champion and always will be, but Tiger, if you give him a clean bill of health for his entire career, I think he absolutely would have broken all of Jack's records. And I think he's played at a level that no one's ever seen before. So you put all that together, I think that, that's very hard to ever see again. But I think they have a new identity, and they have found a very good rhythm, especially this year. It never, I don't care what sport you are, it never helps when you have a fractured game and some of your stars are going to play on Live Golf. And so the last couple of years have been really hard for the PGA Tour and for men's professional golf. But people seem to have gotten past all of that. I think that almost all of the people that are listening to us right now have lost interest in Live. They don't like the format. They think that it feels like an exhibition. It doesn't feel real, and it doesn't matter what stars are playing over there. People have returned to watching the PGA Tour and watching the majors because they prefer that format and how much it matters. I mean, look how nobody cares that Rory McIlroy won $4 million. They cared that he won the Masters, and you could see how much it meant to him that he won it. So I think that people have returned to the PGA Tour this year because they realize this is what I've always preferred. And it does. It has a lot of juice right now. Hopefully it'll keep up as the summer continues. We have some really fun storylines, not only with Rory McIlroy, but Jordan Spieth and Bryson DeChambeau playing in major championships after winning the U.S. Open last year. He'll be a factor too. So there are certainly some things to get excited about right now with golf.
Who's maybe a young guy that you think has a chance to be one of the top players that we need to be looking for?
Yeah, I'll give you one that is maybe he's a year or two away, but in Auburn, Alabama, there is a kid named Jackson Coyven who is from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Nick Kleiner, the head coach of Auburn's men's golf team, came and got him away from North Carolina and brought him to the plains of Auburn. And he was the best player in college golf last year as a freshman, and Auburn won the national championship. And he is the best player in college golf as a sophomore. We just did the SEC conference tournament on SEC Network last weekend at Sea Island, and he was the individual champion for the second consecutive year. No one's done that in over 40 years, gone back to back and win the SEC individual title. And I mean, think of all the talent we have in football and basketball in the SEC. We have at least that much in golf. And for him to do that is just a huge accomplishment. This guy doesn't have a weakness. So I would tell your listeners, especially your Auburn fans, watch out for this guy. He is going to be a top shelf professional player.
Interesting. I would like to get a temperature or two on college football, since we obviously, probably most of our listeners see you on the SEC Network for college football. That this past go around with the expansion, all of that around college football, I mean, tell me the one place that always brings it, no matter what game that you're at. Well, what's the one place that you're like, that this is the assignment. I can't wait for this one.
You know, it's a great question, and somebody asked me this last week in Nashville, and there are several places that I love going that have the same level of passion, especially for big games, like Neyland Stadium, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Jordan-Hare Stadium, Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, College Station, Kyle Field, there in College Station. Athens, Sanford Stadium is terrific. But no matter what is happening, the fans at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina, in many cases outperform the product on the field. It doesn't matter if the Gamecocks are good enough. They're always going to show up and support the team. But a guy that's become a good friend and somebody I can count on as a golf partner, Shane Beamer, has did a terrific job with that team last year. And I think that they'll be good again next year. So that they'll have even more reason to get excited there. But I've been doing this for 10 years now, SEC football, and I absolutely love it. And it's going to be fun going Saturday evenings from wherever game I'm calling to get back to the Titans. But I'm really looking forward to that. But I love going there. No matter what their record has been, even through some bad seasons, they always have a great atmosphere there at Williams-Brice Stadium. So I have a ton of respect for their fans.
Wow. I mean, it's, in my experiences, in another lifetime, I was part of the Georgia Bulldog radio network, and I was kind of Lauren Smith's just little gopher down on the sideline. And there was one year in particular, we were just beating the dog out of them, and not very many people left. So much so, I asked a couple of them, said, "Why are you sticking around?" "You never know, because you never know." So, I mean, I don't know why that's always stuck in my head more than anything. But so you are going to stay on SEC. So this is a good thing. So it sounds like your weekends are pretty well occupied for the fall. Have you talking to Gene Deckerhoff for any pointers moving forward?
I've talked to Wes Durham and to Dave Pash, who are both doing that.
Yeah.
Dave does primarily SEC games, SEC and ACC games on Saturday, and then he does the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. That would make me a little nervous. And then Wes Durham, who of course does the primetime ACC game on Saturday night, and then 5 hours later is in a plane trying to get to wherever the Falcons are. That makes me very nervous. But my crew typically does a Saturday midday or afternoon game, and we're almost always driving distance from Nashville. Obviously some of these road trips are going to be somewhat challenging, but in those cases, I almost always will have the early game on SEC Network, which will allow me to fly on Saturday to wherever the Titans are. So, yes, to answer your question, I'm still going to do that. And I'm over the moon about it. 12-year-old Taylor or the 22-year-old Taylor that you knew years ago he'd be over the moon for this. And I am. I'm super excited about it. Both of my children are in college right now. This is the time for my wife and I to get to have a lot of fun and travel together, and we're very excited about it.
You think we're going to see I will be down at the beach for the spring meetings. Do you think we're going to see 9 conference games announced in the SEC? Do you think that's coming?
I hope so. I know that the SEC would like that. I mean, personally, Steve, I would love it. Certainly Matt Stinchcomb, Melissa Lang, and I would love it. We want to call more conference games. 2020 was the most bizarre situation ever.
Yeah.
But what we called 10 conference games, that year, which was a lot of fun. So give me as much conference versus conference games as possible. So I sure hope so. I think that that's what the fans want. They want better matchups. And certainly since now we have a 12-team playoff, which is absolutely going to 16. Maybe it goes to 14 for a year or two, but it's going to 16. Now that that's the case, you don't have to protect your win-loss total as much as you used to. And so, you're probably eventually going to see a 9-3 team get into the playoffs, but you certainly are going to see a lot of 10-2 teams get in.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think it's fine if you challenge yourself even more than you currently are. So yes, I don't know if that's going to be announced this year, but I definitely think it's happening in the next few years.
Well, I can only I could throw in a thought or two about the committee from last year, but I'll just shelve that for another day and just move on. And sincerely, congratulations. Proud of you, brother. And boy, I'm excited to hear the calls coming up this fall, not only on the SEC network, but also Titans radio as well. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you guys really a lot, Steve. Thank you. It's a full circle moment, as you know better than anyone, for me. So I'm super excited about it.
I'm proud of you, brother. Proud of you. And looking forward to hearing you in a big way this fall.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
That is the voice of the Tennessee Titans, Taylor Zarzour. Let's go ahead and take our final timeout. Final call for phone calls on the other side here on The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a bag compressor, a leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490.
AL certain number 21014.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Temperatures relatively warm as we head into the overnight early into your Thursday morning. We're only going to drop into the mid-60s. Partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. Temperature climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. There is a better opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms through the heart of Thursday afternoon. Some of that activity could be on the stronger end of the spectrum, and then maybe some gusty winds across the Tennessee Valley. That activity will subside as we head into the overnight early into your Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looky here, coming up on the program tomorrow, the Chief, John Chavis, is going to join us coming up tomorrow. Ask him how he got that nickname. Something that we did not ask the Chief the last time he was on with us. According to Kirk Bowles, we remember last year Ohio State reportedly spent around $22 million on their roster. Well, that's chump change. That's chump change to the folks in Austin, Texas. Kirk Bowles of the Houston Chronicle is reporting that Hook Them, Texas, is going to spend between $35 million and $40 million on this year's roster.
On the football team.
On the football team.
So I knew that yesterday, but I wasn't sure if it was the whole athletic department on players or just football.
Just football, according to Kirk Bowles. $35 million and $40 million. You know, well, give or take $5 million.
That's just nuts. Between
Hook Them. Jim is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Doing real well.
I appreciate Jim's patience. We've had some phone issues, so we're using the backup satellite to get out to Tim today. Thanks for your patience, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I was calling regarding the EL bill in the state legislature.
The English language learner, ELL.
ELL. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We've only got like a minute and a half just to let you know on the front end right here, Jim.
Okay. I was questioning Brock Calvin being affiliated with the Republican Party. But you told me earlier The immigration problem in this area is much larger than wins and losses in sports scores. Albertville is considered somewhat of a sanctuary city and in Marshall County. And the residents have asked for change in the city of Albertville. But to ask for high school sports categories be changed due to wins and losses, the immigration problem in this area is not going to be remedied with high school sports.
Well, I don't think anybody has an argument with that, Jim. I think just that they're trying to figure out a way to figure out, since that segment fluctuates more than other groups in the schools, they're just trying to figure out how that does. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Yeah,
And,
Jim, I hate the
you
fact
know,
that we're out
we
of
do
time.
sport,
I really do.
We do sports. We don't do politics. So as it relates to the sports, that's how we go.
Jim, feel free to call back in tomorrow and we can talk more about it.
Thanks for your call, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate the input there. We will talk to you tomorrow.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour of the Paul Feinbaum Show is brought to you by Sensagreen Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
The weekend's full of surprise. From Williams, Bryce to Death Valley. On the Feinbaum Show, Paul's on the road. If he don't get the best of me, call Paul. He'll make sense of it all. Kneeling someone rocky top, the Razorbacks are hard to stop. War equals sword in the wind. Tigers fucking in Missouri, Wildcats grinning too. Boomer Sooner rolling up again. Well, Evil's bound to hook 'em. He'll catch you if you're not looking. Watch out for the tide that's rolling in. The weekend's full of surprises. From big upsets to rivalries. On the Feinbaum Show, it's a gonna roll. If they don't get the best of me, oh, he'll make sense of it all. Yeah. Call Paul. He'll make sense of it all. Yeah, call Paul.
We are down to one more hour. So you never know on this show what happens in the final hour. It begins with Handsome Joe in the Zoom. What's up, Joe?
Roll Tide Roll, Paul Feinbaum, and hey, another good show. So I was out yesterday, had a doctor appointment, and it took a lot longer than what I expected it to. It was an early morning appointment. I didn't get home till dark, so I mean, it's a long day, but everything went good. I mean, I guess I can't complain. But Paul, on this thing, with Bill Belichick, Paul, now I've been married, twice. I've had several girlfriends, but I can't remember a time any one of them ever got involved with my work. I mean, most of the time they were just happy I was working. I mean, so I don't understand. I mean, but like Belichick, maybe he needs to, if he's going to at least bring her to an interview, the best thing, just get her a babysitter. You see what I'm saying? And let her, get her some little Lego blocks and play over in the corner or something other while the gentleman, while the material people have their conversations. Because I don't get it, Paul. I mean, I don't know why he would even bring her to an interview. I mean, because it really ain't got nothing to do with her.
I tell you what it shows. It shows that she is so possessive of him that she has not allowed anyone else to be around. First of all, I've done a few interviews before with books. There's always a book publicist there. That's their job for a major book like this. But or a university person. These are professionals, people that actually have done this before. She showed what a rank amateur she is, and the idea the school had to come out and try to help him today made it worse. I realize we're well versed in these type of things, Joe, but that showed that she has complete control, and the school just does not want to deal with her. So they said, okay, fine, we'll issue this bogus statement. But it's a tremendous embarrassment to the university.
Well, Coach Belichick, he's going to go through some hard knocks, all right. I'm not talking about on the football field. But you know what, Paul? I had a girlfriend one time. Of course, I dumped her. She didn't even want me to, this was about 10 years ago. She didn't even want me to talk to my sister. She didn't want me to talk to any female. So of course I had to dump her. But I can say this, Bill Belichick, when the young lady's birthday comes around, pretty much all he got to do is get her a tricycle, an easy bake oven. And she'll be happy. Start training her out right now. Start training her out.
Okay, how much younger is the youngest person you've ever dated?
15-year difference.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Right. That's even a big difference. But she was in her 30s and I was in my 40s. So that's really too much. And that's the reason that didn't work. It was just too much, different going on. I was working like 18 hours a day, and she was happy to just spend whatever money she could. So what kind of, that's what a lot of these, I'm not saying that that's the case with Bill Belichick, but that's the case with a lot of these younger ladies that go, especially 50 years age. Yeah, Paul.
By the way, I'm trying to figure out, other than being beauty contests, what does this girl do?
I know, I don't get it. Paul, I'd rather have a woman my own age. I don't understand if something's, I don't even know why Bill Belichick needed this job. I like the state of North Carolina. I like the team North Carolina. That's my favorite team.
Here's why he needed the job, because he's a coach. Coach's coach. I've never seen a coach walk away from coaching that immediately didn't want to go into something. Where do most of them go if they can? Television.
Right.
And very few make it in television because, and I've sat with a lot of them over the years, and they're competitive people, and they don't care if they're coaching Pee-wee, they have to keep score. Right. Their whole life has been keeping score.
Right, and a lot does go back coaching high school. Just to be around back to the roots, I guess. It gets in your blood, and like my career, Paul, I love my career, and I don't want to make everything about me because it's not, but I love my career, and I'd still be at it if I hadn't got injured. That's just something that happened. Of course, it's hard to get that bad injured as a head coach, but yeah, you're right, Paul. They just once you get in your blood, I heard it's kind of like moonshine, and once it gets in your blood, it's just hard to break the habit. You're going to retire on that hill, and that's just the way it is. And so, hey, maybe Coach Saban, who knows? He may be coaching high school if it wasn't for ESPN. I don't know. Who knows what goes on? But it's hard to get it out, Paul. And they're going to always have these X's and O's in their drawing pads. It's always going to happen because it's just these numbers and figures and stats just roll through their mind. It does fans too, but I know it does coaches. And you hit the nail right on the head, Paul.
Do you have any idea, though, what it's like to be the biggest in your field? This isn't just a good coach. This is the greatest NFL coach. We're talking Vince Lombardi, Tom Landry, Bill Walsh, Andy Reid, go right down the list. And all of a sudden he completely flops after his meal ticket leaves. Tom Brady, he gets fired. And I think they were together before then, but so he gets this job and she just takes over. Anyway, great to have you on. You take care of yourself, Joe. Let's go next to somebody that's kind of the bookend of Handsome Joe, and that's Johnny B. Good.
Moonshine and young women. We're headed down my alley now. Is this the Belichick love line?
It is.
Well, Paul, he is not in any of the interviews I've ever seen just been a really outstanding interviewer.
Oh, he's terrible.
Wouldn't you agree to that?
He's one of the worst interviews.
So she's there taking care of him, but it shows how little she knows about football, or she'd have went after Brady. I was mowing today when you told about him signing that thing and putting his championship dates and all on it, and I like to fell off the lawnmower and run over myself. That was so hilarious and awkward. You made a good point earlier about all these guys are lifers at coaching, and let's just say Brady's sake, ball, and that's all they ever know. And as much as I like Brady as a player and everything, he's not that great on TV. It's just to me,
No,
these guys seem a little
he's
socially
very
awkward.
average, and average is not what you should be when you're paid the kind of money he's paid.
No, but I mean, my whole thing with Bill is more power to him. And somebody weighed in today. One of the judges, it's a short-term thing. But, hey, this dude's living out, having some of the best time of his life, I think. Now everybody's making it look like it's a bad
everybody
thing.
says that, and then there's a tinge of sexism and misogyny when I hear people talk about that. But I don't think he really is because he's allowed. I mean, here's a guy who's always been in charge. Who believes in a process, just like his protege in Alabama, and he is now letting somebody literally take over. And by the way, everyone who's been married, you can just crank up the wife jokes. This woman is not his wife. This woman is getting in the way. She is embarrassing. She is making him look stupid, and that's the problem with age, Johnny. As you get older and you crack through a couple of moments in time, you start to look like a doddering fool. And that's why it's helpful to have a support system.
He's socially awkward. You're supposed to pay those women and they go on their way, and then you get another one the next time. See, Bill.
Apparently, what he said didn't make it. I tell you, let's settle down and go to somebody who we know we can count on for logic and reason and mostly common sense. Augie is up next.
Paul, do you get the sense or the feeling sometimes when you talk about this Bill Belichick thing, you're talking about soft porn?
Yes. People are, this is like a shooting gallery today. People, they mention something and I'm just naively saying, oh yeah, and then they get knocked out. Let's take a break here so we can see if we can get a caller that can last more than 7 seconds. We'll be right back.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence. It's a commitment. A 120-year-old commitment to build in America for America. And during this unprecedented moment in automotive history, you stand to benefit big time. Woody Anderson Ford is now offering employee pricing. You pay what we pay. We've got over 190 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48